Hey there, y'all. Today we're going to look at 1.7 on writing expressions. This is our last section of Unit 1 as we close out this first unit. So the objective today is that you will be able to write algebraic expressions to model quantities. And the standard here is ASE 1. To continue what we talked about yesterday. Interpret the meaning of coefficients and factors, terms, and expressions based on the real-world context, and interpret complicated expressions as being composed of simpler expressions and limit that to linear, quadratic, and exponential. And again, right now we're just talking linear. So, first off, we have a chart here. And so, in this chart, what I want you to do, we're going to do this in class, but I want you to start with thinking about any terms that mean addition, subtraction, multiplication, or division. Anything that you've heard those words used for those operations. So, for example, addition is the word sum, right? So we hear sum, we know that we're going to be adding things together. And for subtraction, we talk about the difference. For multiplication, we talk about the product. And for division, we talk about the quotient. Now, there are other words and phrases that you can think of. I want you to list out as many as you can. So if you need to pause the video now or do this at the end once you're done watching this video, but write out all of the words that you can think of that mean addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. And then we're going to continue on here with this lesson. So we're first going to look at how to model algebraic expressions. And with example 1, we want to be able to write algebraic expressions from the phrases given. And so example A says the price of a dinner plus a 20% tip. And so when we talk about this, we need a variable first, right? And so we don't know the price of the dinner. So we could use the letter D for this, right? And then if I need a 20% tip, remember that when we deal with percentages, we're dealing with multiplication. And so, but we're also going to be adding something, right? It's added on to the bill. But it's not just that we're going to put 20% here. We got to first change that 20% to a decimal. And what is 20% as a decimal? 0.2. But it's 20% of what? 20% of the price of the dinner. So it's 0.2D. Now, are these like terms? Can I simplify it? Yes. Remember that in front of the first D, if there's no number here, the number's what? 1. And so when we add these together, we're going to get 1.2D. This is the final expression of the price of the dinner plus a 20% tip. In example B, we have the base salary of $400 per week plus a commission of 8.5% of the sales. So what is this going to look like? Well, first off, we have the $400, so $400. And then it says what? Plus. A commission means that you're going to get a percentage of the sales that you sell. So let's say you're a car salesman and you sell a $10,000 car and you get a certain percentage of that back as payment for your wages for that week. And so let's say you have a 10% commission. Well, on that $10,000 car, you would earn $1,000. Well, in this case, we've got an 8.5% of sales. So we don't know how much is sold, so we'll represent it by the letter S here. And then we want to convert this percent to a decimal. And so to convert 8.5%, remember you're going to take that 8.5%. Remember you're going to move that decimal how many times? Twice, right? And so I need to put a 0 here. And so this is going to be 0.085 times S. Now, is there anything else I can do with this? Are there like terms that I can combine to make this a simpler expression? Not in this case. One has an S and one doesn't have an S. All right, last one, C. We have the original cost C of an item reduced by a sale of 25%. And so we have the original cost C. Reduced by means subtraction. And here I am dealing with a percentage again, so that percentage has to be multiplied to something. Well, 25% is 0.25. And so 0.25 of what? The cost of the item. And so I'm going to have 0.25C. And so like we did in problem A, we're going to need to put a 1 in front of that C, right? So we're putting a 1 here. And 1 minus 0.25 is going to give us 0.75C. This is the final expression. And we would be able to find out how much this item cost when it's on sale. So that's how we write algebraic expressions. We got to take the information we're given, use the words that mean addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, whatever words we're looking at there, and then be able to write out the statement. So next we're going to look at example 2. All right, so we're going to look at example 2 here on unit analysis. So last month, Sally volunteered 15 hours at an animal shelter. In the weeks to follow, she plans to volunteer 4 hours per week at the shelter. Write an algebraic expression to represent the total number of hours she will have volunteered W weeks from now. And so in part A, we're going to use unit analysis to write the model. And so we start out that she worked so many hours in a week, right? So she worked so many hours prior to now. And then we're told that she works 4 hours per week. And so we're going to add in some more hours each week. And so that is hours per week. But if I want this to be equal to hours at the end, because that's what we're told, right? So we're trying to represent the total number of what? Hours. So in the end, this has to reduce down to hours. Well, right now, I've got hours per week. And the other thing to remember is that to be able to add or subtract anything together, the units have to be the same, just like terms. So how can I get rid of the weeks down here? Go back to what we did in section 2 in dimensional analysis. What's going to cancel the weeks? Multiplying this by weeks. And so this will cancel this, and we get hours in the end. So in example B, we want to write an algebraic model for the total number of hours worked after W weeks have passed. And so she worked 15 hours plus the 4 hours per week times W. Remember, W stands for W weeks. And that would be equal to the number of hours that she has worked. And so in part C, the expression what? 15 plus 4W represents the total number of what? Hours that Sally will volunteer after W weeks have passed. All right, so this is section 1.7, so that is it for this video. This is a pretty short section, and the practice on it that we'll look at will be pretty short too. So if you got any questions, make sure you put them in the Google form, fill out your Google form, and y'all have a great day, and I'll see you next time.